Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan declared victory in his country's presidential vote, hours after polls closed Sunday. Erdogan now has sweeping new powers, as Turkish citizens earlier in a referendum voted in favor of changing the country's parliamentary system to an executive presidential system. Under the new constitution, the office of the Prime Minister will be abolished. The president will be the head of the executive branch and the head of state. Without parliamentary approval, the president will be able to issue decrees to form and regulate ministries and appoint and remove senior civil servants. The wide-ranging powers that will be invested in the president have made the opposition worried.
The fear was that because there are very few checks and balances in the system and the judiciary is not really not independent, that this would lead to very serious monopolization of power that in a democratic system would concentrate too much powers in the hands of the executive.
But observers believe Erdogan's win will not end the crisis in Turkey. Soner Kagapte, author of The New Sultan, Erdogan and the Crisis of Modern Turkey, says the biggest issue at stake is that the election will not resolve Turkey's ongoing political crisis. It'll only deepen it. Turkey is so deeply polarized on one issue, whether you either love or loathe President Erdogan, and that won't go away after the election. Analysts also believe that the surprising aspect of the vote is not Erdogan's win, but it is the fact that the president has failed to crush the opposition. This, they say, is because nearly half of the voters in the elections that were also seen as a referendum on Erdogan and his AK party said no to him. The opposition, though fractured, has put up a stiff resistance against Erdogan.
He has never had the political opposition that he has in this election. What he and the AK party more or less are stating, that they believe that they're running not just against domestic enemies, but they're running on a variety of platforms against Israel, the United States, and terrorist groups. Now he's saying this to some extent, as he always has, to seem the victim to domestic audiences. But and a lot of people didn't take the coup attempt by, as he had stated, the Gulenists seriously. And we're reassessing all of this right now.
Turkey's internal politics aside, Erdogan has over the past years portrayed himself as a leader who would not be pushed around by Western powers, most notably the U.S. He is painted as Turkey's new sultan in the Western media and political quarters, and as someone seeking authoritarian rule with too high ambitions. Erdogan has gradually distanced himself from the West in recent years and has forged closer ties with Russia. The Turkish leader and his inner circle believes the U.S. was involved in the July 2016 failed coup against him and attempted to topple him.
The relations with the EU have subsided from where they were about a year ago. The most important outstanding problems are with the United States.
The Russians have been consistent players, something the U.S. has not been. The U.S. has played both sides against the middle with Erdogan now.
Experts say Erdogan's victory means more confrontation with the West in the years to come. Erdogan has dominated Turkish politics since 2003 as prime minister and since 2014 as the country's first directly elected president.